Welcome to Constitutional Truth. I'm your host, Shar. Today we're going to talk about some more issues with Abilene and their regional hazard mitigation plan. How Abilene government failed to execute the plan, part 2. The other day, KRBC meteorologist Susan Harbert said that Abilene and surrounding parts are only 8 days away from meteorological spring. That was as of 2/21/2021. And to the right here is a screenshot of her post to Facebook. So based on this information, I thought it would be a good time to pull the information from our West Central Texas Council of Governments Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan, what most of us consider or think about as an emergency management plan, as it relates to thunderstorms, wind, and tornadoes, because that's usually what we see in the springtime, along with hail. Hail is in the plan, but there really aren't any specific mitigation actions that I found in the plan that relate to hail as a hazard. I mean, hail comes, it causes damage, and people file insurance reports to repair them or to make repairs. So feel free to read about the hail hazard on your own. So are you ready to learn about what the city has failed to do for us regarding thunderstorms, wind, and tornadoes? Then go ahead and listen on. Here are the pages that I found in our emergency management plan as relate to thunderstorm and wind, and they just titled that section Thunderstorm Wind. The hazard description: thunderstorms create extreme wind events, which includes straight line winds. I'm sure that many of us have been here long enough to know that a lot of times trees will come down and we'll think it was a tornadic event, and it really was just a really bad, strong straight line wind. And there's a lot of description in here as to what straight line winds are. Straight line winds are responsible for most thunderstorm wind damages. One type of straight line wind, the downburst, is a small area of rapidly descending air beneath a thunderstorm. A downburst can cause damage equivalent to a strong tornado and make air travel extremely hazardous. Thunderstorm wind events can develop in any geographic location and are considered a common occurrence in Texas. It is assumed that the entire planning area 1 is uniformly exposed to the threat of thunderstorms winds. The extent or magnitude of a thunderstorm wind event is measured by the Beaufort wind scale or Beaufort wind scale. Here is the wind scale that they include. Feel free to pause and read it at your leisure, or download the document and read it for yourself. The choice is yours. Here is a map of the United States with wind zones. We are listed in zone 3. On average, the planning area experiences 4 to 5 thunderstorm wind events every year. That doesn't mean that's just the number of thunderstorms, but thunderstorm wind events. The county is located in zone 3, meaning they can experience winds up to 200 miles per hour. Taylor County, including the West Central Texas Council of Government and all participating jurisdictions, has experienced a significant wind event or an event with winds in the range of force 12 on the Beaufort wind scale, with winds above 73 knots. This is the most significant event that can be expected in the future for all participating jurisdictions. Tables 5-2, 5-3, and 5-4, which I did include, depict historical occurrences of thunderstorm wind events for planning area 1 according to the National Centers for Environmental Information NCEI data. It is important to note that wind events associated with other hazards such as tornadoes, are not accounted for in this section. And here are tables 5-2 and 5-3 that give you some ideas. Okay, and you'll see here that they go on for quite some time with history here. And then table 5-4, summary of historical thunderstorm wind events from 1955 through 2017, when this last update was completed. Based on the list of historical thunderstorm wind events for Planning Area 1, including the West Central Texas Council of Governments and all participating jurisdictions, 93 events have occurred since the 2012 plan. That is a pretty significant number. Most thunderstorm winds occur during the months of March, April, May, and September. Now you understand why I felt it was important to bring this up. Based on available records of historic events, there have been 300 events in a 63-year reporting period, which provides a probability of occurrence of 4 to 5 events every year. Even though the intensity of thunderstorm wind events is not always damaging, the frequency of occurrence for a thunderstorm wind event is highly likely. This means that an event is probable within the next year, including all the participating jurisdictions. Here we have structures at greater risk by jurisdiction, specifically discussing manufactured homes and structures built before a certain year, being 1980. Lists the towns, the county, and then the numbers. And then it talks about critical facilities again. Okay. We have the city of Abilene highlighted. And then the assessment of impacts on the right. Thunderstorm wind events have the potential to pose a significant risk to people and can create dangerous and difficult situations for public health and safety officials. Impacts to the planning area can include, it's a very long list here, but I highlighted the ones that I felt were probably more important to people. Down to power lines may result in roadways being unsafe for use, which may prevent first responders from answering calls for assistance or rescue. During exceptionally heavy wind events, first responders may be prevented from responding to calls, as the winds may reach a speed in which their vehicles and equipment are unsafe to operate. Extended power outage often results in an increase in structure fires and carbon monoxide poisoning, as individuals attempt to cook or heat their homes with alternate unsafe cooking or heating devices, such as grills. Emergency operations and services may be significantly impacted due to damaged facilities and/or loss of communications. Critical staff may be unable to report for duty, limiting response capabilities. As you see, the list is rather long. Most of this list mostly applies to services, infrastructure that is significant to the city and the county. There is quite a bit that applies to people or private property or business property, but private and business property will be impacted when the basic services, and when I say basic services, I mean hospitals, mind you, our hospitals are private, but ambulance service, fire department, and police department, sheriff's department. When those services that we pay for through our taxes are impacted because people can't get to work because of down trees, down power lines, when they can't be dispatched because the radio tower is down, things of that nature. When that happens, then we are still impacted. Okay, So we need to consider all of these things. So now we're going to move on to the emergency management plan section on tornadoes. A couple of years ago, we had one here in Abilene. And some of you may recall that our mayor told us that we did not have tornado sirens. He referred to it as a wind event, and gave us a really strange explanation as to why we didn't have tornado sirens. On the first page of the section on tornadoes, we have a description of tornadoes. They're among the most violent storms on the planet. Okay, and it describes what they are. The most powerful tornadoes are produced by supercell thunderstorms, which is why they also occur during this spring season most frequently. It gives a variation among tornadoes here: weak, strong, and violent. There is no specific geographic boundary. We are listed in zones 3 and 4 for tornado activity within the U.S. geographic area. The destruction caused by tornadoes ranges from light to inconceivable, depending on the intensity, size, and duration of the storm. Typically, tornadoes cause the greatest damage to structures of light construction, such as residential homes, particularly mobile homes. Pardon me. On this page, I have the two different types of Fujita scales, because one is enhanced, the newer one. The other one on the left is the previous scale. The explanations on them are given. Prior to 2005, it was the original Fujita scale. Going forward, it's the enhanced, which is why we have the EF instead of just the F. It's included here just so that as you're reading through this document on your own, you'll know to look at them together. On this page on the left, only reported tornadoes were factored into the risk assessment because not all tornadoes are reported, apparently. It is likely that a high number of occurrences have gone unreported over the last 68 years. Figure 11-2 here, this little map of the area, lists locations of previous occurrences in our area from 1950 through 2017. There's a total of 64. So if anyone tells you that we don't get tornadoes in Abilene, they are misinformed and not telling the full truth. This one does not include last year's or the most recent tornado that we have, because this was completed in 2018. And then on the right, only incidents that have had death, injury, property, or crop damage reported have been listed in Table 11-4. And I will skip through this a little quickly. Okay. Based on the list of historical tornado events for Planning Area 1 listed above, including all participating jurisdictions, 2 of the events have occurred in the since the 2012 plan. We can update that and say 3. Okay. Tornadic storms can occur at any time of the year, any time of the day, but they're usually in the evening and in the spring months during the late afternoon. Okay. There's a small chance in the fall during that brief transition between the warm and cold seasons. And the planning area can experience a tornadic touchdown approximately once every year. This frequency supports a highly likely probability of future events for our planning area. Okay. And then it gets into manufactured homes, homes that are on crawl spaces, or rather homes that are not built on concrete foundations. And then large buildings like malls, gyms, factories, that types of thing. And again, the same types of critical facilities that need to be considered for mitigation. The assessment of impacts on the right. Tornadoes have the potential to pose a significant risk to the population and can create dangerous situations oftentimes. Providing and preserving public health and safety is difficult. Impacts to the planning area can include, and we start again here, residential structures destroyed by a tornado may not be rebuilt for years, reducing the tax base for the community. I found this to be important because this is a fact. Businesses that are uninsured or underinsured may have difficulty reopening, which results in a net loss of jobs for the community and a potential increase in the unemployment rate. Again, that reduces the tax base. These two things I found to be important because if the city wishes to continue with growth and continue with its current budget increasing as it does annually, then it needs to recognize the necessity for mitigation, warning, and other such needs. And if it does not, then people will lose their lives, they will lose their homes, they will lose their businesses. Not that anyone can stop a tornado, but lost lives, lost businesses, lost income, lost homes. The idea that there's not, that Abilene doesn't get tornadoes or serious enough tornadoes and so on and so forth is foolhardy at best and ignorant at worst. And people may not have enough homeowners insurance to be able to replace the things that they need to replace. So let's review the section on mitigation strategy and the various mitigation actions for Taylor County and the city of Abilene. I'm just going to quickly show these pages because I did them in the previous episode about the water. Okay, we discussed these before, but again, with goal 5, maximizing the resources for investment in hazard mitigation and prioritizing mitigation projects. I don't think I need to go over that much more than I already have previously. Investing in pet projects is not prioritizing mitigation projects. Now, these are not in their original order. I put them side by side for a reason. Taylor County wide action number 2 and Taylor County specific action number 3 are essentially the same. Now, Taylor County wide action number 2 and Taylor County specific action number 3 are both acquire and install generators with hardwired quick connections at all critical facilities. The only difference between them is who is responsible. For the Taylor County wide action number 2, lead agency department responsible is county and local emergency management coordinators, City of Abilene, county judge, and county administration. In Taylor County itself, county administration and county judge. They both are of high priority. The Taylor County wide has a price point of $1 million. Taylor County specific is $500,000 or $500,000. So it sounds to me like a cost sharing deal. Taylor County wide is 12 to 24 months within plan adoption. Taylor County specific is within 12 months. Here, Taylor County wide action number 5 Taylor County Action Number 5 and Taylor County-wide Action Number 3 are similar. Now, Taylor County-wide Action Number 3 has a high priority, whereas the Taylor County specific has moderate. Both the same price. They both are hardened retrofit critical facilities to hazard resistant levels. Why one is high and one is moderate, I do not know. Both have local funds, state and federal grants. Taylor County is allowed 24 to 36 months. Taylor County wide is allowed 12 to 24 months. City of Abilene Action Number 2, acquire and install generators with hardwired quick connections at all critical facilities. High priority, $1 million, local, state, and federal, local funds, state and federal grants. City of Abilene Facilities and Capital Improvements Department is the lead agency responsible within 12 to 24 months of plan adoption. We've gone over this in the previous one. Here is something that is specific for tornadoes, thunderstorms, wind, flood, hail, dam failure, wildfire. At the previous action, it was only listed for thunderstorm, flood, and tornado, but it's the same action proposal. Indoor and outdoor warning system or sirens for large gathering areas. City of Abilene area venues, reduce the risk of injuries or fatalities through early warning. For some reason, it's listed as a moderate priority. In the update, it was dropped to $1 million. City of Abilene Public Works, local funds, state and federal grants within 24 to 36 months of plan adoption. Whereas the previous action plan was supposed to have it done by 2013 to 2015. They keep kicking the can down the road on getting sirens installed. And if you recall, when we had that tornado here most recently, we were told that the previous sirens were removed for, oh gosh, we've had so many different reasons given. There were squirrels were eating the lines. They were going off all the time. They were too expensive to maintain. And when it was brought up at council to do the maintenance on them, the cost was too expensive, so they just took them all out because Abilene doesn't get tornadoes. That's the excuse we were given at the last, quote, wind event. I'm pretty sure that the people who woke up that night, that early morning, at that last tornado, would have loved to have heard a siren warn them. Thankfully, we didn't have any fatalities, but we could have. And it would have been nice to hear them. Some people got notifications on their cell phones. Not everybody did. It would have been really nice to have heard those warning sirens go off. So the time for sitting around and letting government just do what it wants to do is over. We must get involved beyond voting. Voting is not how you keep government in check. The emergency management plan is a contract. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Texas Department of Emergency Management reviews it and signs off on it. And I'm pretty sure that FEMA has rules on it as to how it has to be done, and they may or may not sign off on it. That I couldn't tell you.
All of the participating members of Planning Area 1 sign off on that management plan, as does the West Central Texas Council of Governments. And that contract is signed off by our public servants that they're going to do these things on our behalf with our money that we pay them. And they need to be doing it. Just because it's not a formal contract to buy and build a hotel or to sell water to a local subdivision does not mean it's not still a contract. Abilene City Council have failed to keep up their end of the contract. Instead, they are spending money and signing off on spending money on pet projects, hotels, beautification, and other useless things instead of the mitigation actions that they agreed to in this contract. We need to attend city council meetings and speak during the open comments. Even though you're going to feel like you're just speaking to the wind because those people don't answer you during open comments, it gets your comments on the official record. And also your fellow Abilenians, those who watch from home, during and after, and those who are present during, will hear that you are also upset by this. And it may be the first time they've heard about it. And they'll go researching and they'll go digging and they'll find out what's been going on. Demand the city council fund these mitigation actions before one more cent is spent on another pet project. I don't care if it hair lips the governor. Not one more penny needs to be spent on a walking trail, a baseball diamond, a mowing the grass at a park, a pillow for the hotel. I don't care. These mitigation actions need to be taken care of and taken care of now. Elect council people who are willing to be fiscally conservative and follow this emergency management plan. And if you will, please subscribe, share, like, and comment. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.